My mother arranged the Christmas table as if symmetry itself might improve our bloodline. Every fork was aligned, every wine glass centered, every folded napkin standing like a tiny white monument to the life she wished we lived. Naomi had the place of honor beside my father, dressed in a dark tailored jacket that looked too expensive to belong in our dining room. She wore success the way other people wore perfume, so thick it filled the air before she spoke. "The investor review was ruthless," she said, slicing into her roast with elegant precision. 3 straight months of audits, projections, technical evaluations, leadership interviews. Most founders would have folded halfway through. My cousin Ethan leaned in. "But your company made it through?" Naomi smiled, slow and glittering. "Not just made it, they called our platform groundbreaking." My Uncle Victor lifted his glass. "To Naomi, the first real entrepreneur this family has produced," Crystal chimed around the table. I didn't raise mine. I sat at the far end in my delivery uniform, still smelling faintly of cardboard dust and cold air because I'd come straight from my shift. My stitched name patch, Lena, felt embarrassingly bright beneath the chandelier. "Lena should listen carefully," my father said with a chuckle. "Maybe some of this will rub off." Naomi set down her knife and folded her hands. She had been waiting for that opening all night. "That actually brings me to something important," she said. The room quieted immediately. She reached for her phone, swiped once, and turned the screen toward us. The slide looked polished, corporate, absurdly formal. At the top, in sleek gold lettering, it read, "Family Wealth Review, 4th Quarter." "I've been evaluating our family's long-term financial direction," Naomi said. "And I think it's time we become more intentional about who gets included in serious discussions." She swiped to the next slide. A ranking chart filled the screen, each family member reduced to a colored bar and a dollar figure. Uncle Victor sat at the top with his construction company. My father followed with his accounting practice. My mother's rental properties earned her a warm, approving smile from Naomi. Ethan's recent promotion got its own little speech about upward momentum and executive promise. Then Naomi paused, letting the silence sharpen. "And at the bottom," she said, "we have Lena." A short bar glowed near the screen's edge, almost too small to notice. Logistics support, $40,000 a year, no equity, no investments, no appreciable assets, no strategic network. From a purely economic standpoint, her contribution to the family's future planning is negligible. Nobody spoke. I kept cutting my food into small, neat pieces. Jenny, my younger cousin, shifted in her chair. "What exactly are you saying?" Naomi clicked again. The final slide appeared. Contributor track implementation. "Social gatherings stay the same," she said smoothly. "Holidays, birthdays, family dinners, everyone is welcome. But business discussions, wealth planning, investment strategy, collaborative ventures, those should be limited to contributors, people who can actually follow high-level conversations." My father nodded as if she were proposing something noble. Naomi finally looked directly at me. "No offense, Lena, but discussions about valuation, acquisition, private capital, those aren't really your world." "That makes sense," I said. She smiled, relieved. "Exactly, no hard feelings." By the time dessert was served, she was back to talking about investor confidence, expansion, and the $40 million her company had secured. Everyone listened like she was translating from heaven. Later in my apartment, I changed out of my uniform, opened the hidden laptop in my desk, and drafted 2 brief emails. The first went to my attorney. The second went to my portfolio manager. At 7:12 the next morning, Naomi called. I let it ring. By 9, she had left 6 voicemails and frantic texts about frozen accounts, vanished investors, and lawyers who sounded less admiring than terrified. I answered just before noon. "Lena," she said, voice raw, "someone destroyed my company overnight." I leaned back in my chair. "What happened?" "Our lead investor terminated everything. Every transfer, every commitment, every account. They say it was legal. There was a clause." She sucked in a shaky breath. "I thought the money was guaranteed." That evening, the family gathered again, only this time in my parents' living room, with Naomi in yesterday's mascara and an old sweater. She admitted the investors were gone, the office lease was dead, and the polished world she had built was nothing but paper and borrowed confidence. She confessed the rest, too. No elite training, no glamorous tech resume, no brilliance large enough to justify the way she had looked down on me. When the room finally emptied, she followed me to my car. "I was cruel," she whispered. "You had every right to hate me." "I didn't." She stared at me, tired enough to be honest. "Why not?" Because humiliation had already done its work. Because the $40 million now back inside my primary fund had taught her what kindness never could. Aloud, I only said, "Next time, put family before performance." She nodded once. For the first time all year, she listened.